So I had never been to a law school in Medina. You know, I had passed by it and stuff like that, but it never registered.
Right.
Because the times I had been to Brownsville, I cared more about being alive than looking at different places, though. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. And it wasn't my hood. It wasn't with lots of Puerto Ricans. So, you know, that you always had to be careful if you're really from the 90s and stuff like that, right? Just like if they had to, you know, if you weren't Puerto Rican, you had to be careful if you came to Sunset, you know? Of course, I think the extreme was on the other side, not my side, but... So, I gladly came here because I was still in college though, but college didn't interest me anymore. I was not interested in, I was finishing it, and as I was finishing college, I felt like I came to a place of higher learning, and I didn't learn anything. I didn't learn what I really wanted to learn.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the things that sparked me, like, you know, like, I think of higher learning like you inhabit the arts, you engage in the sciences, and even in the school I went to, they had taken away the education program, you know, and teaching. So even those areas where even before I came here, I thought I could do that, they were already out of the lane. Because I was already teaching other people how to be editors. I felt like I had an affinity for teaching, but that was already, you know? And Hunter College because I did radio in Baruch and I did radio in Hunter College. That seemed more like the place where, and I did work at Hunter College Center for Puerto Rican Studies in hip hop as a consultant and stuff. So I was like, wow, I chose the wrong college, you know? All this business crap.
Right.
But, so I started coming here every single day. Every single day I was coming here. And so the first class, I come here May 4th, and I don't remember much of it. I remember I used to always, I carried, and I still have them, these little memo pads. I would write everything down, you know? And knowledge me taught, he asked everybody our names and stuff. He asked me to break down my name because I had already made it up. He told me that even though I memorized those things, I would have to memorize them again because I have to get his set. And I was fine with that. I didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
You get like the 120, like that.
Right. I have to start all over again. Make sure that way I know a direct route and stuff. And realistically, I knew I had gotten it from day some, but I didn't know anything else about it.
Right.
So I never knew how to question that lineage thing at all.
Right. Well, I mean, were there any like big significant differences in it?
Not really. But I was willing to do it all over.
Because you only had gotten up to, you said up to like a few degrees.
So those degrees don't have much variation.
Right.
You know, like off the board, you know.
Right.
It's when you get in the 1 to 14, the 1 to the 40 that you see some differences. But so what happened was that at the end he had everybody build on the day's mathematics. And so, you know, I stood up and I built. And I linked in the culture degree in the 1 to 36. I don't remember how, but I know I did it. And I looked like I was here for a long time, you know? And that was it. It was all peace. And then the class let out. And he told me to stay. So I was like, I guess I didn't do it that good. And then he told me like, yo, where'd you learn to speak like that? And he wasn't meaning like with the knowledge, he just meant speak like that, like
intelligently.
Yeah, intelligently and stuff like that. Because remember, at the time I got knowledge, I used to come every day with a suit on. Of course, I didn't wear a tie though.
Okay, right.
Ties. But I worked in the publishing.
This is a different Sunez. I don't know this kind of Sunez.
Yeah. But definitely, it was definitely Hector Lavoe mode. You know?
Right. Okay.
But
you have your hair slicked back and all that.
You know what? I still had hair long. Yeah.
Wow.
So it was definitely like that.
Slick back.
But so that combined with the way I was speaking, I built with him, and he said, you know, if you continue with this, you will be teaching here one day. That's what he told me. That was me the first day. We still laughed about it, you know.
Right.
And he said that the first day I met him, and I didn't think too much of it, like putting pressure on myself and stuff like that, because this was all too exciting, and it was exciting because I've learned so many fragmented things. It was starting to make sense. You know what I mean?
Well, let's take it back a little bit. I mean, you said when you talk about fragment, you mean like through the music and
through the music,
through the culture, but mostly through the music.
Yeah, through the music, even going through other musics too, and finding the roots to the black aspects of my own culture. You know what I mean? The indigenous aspects of my own culture, being comfortable with that. You know, actually not being comfortable with that, but being comfortable that I am comfortable with that. Because so many people, through my whole life, I've always been comfortable being original, being black, being indigenous, being those things. and it was always everyone else
Kind of like
that made me.
Put that away a little bit.
That always tried to stop me and say, "Oh, you're talking too black. You're talking to this. You're talking to that." You know.
Wow.
I was in a family household that would one day tell me I was talking too black, which means street, sloppy, ebonics, you know, to another day, to the next day saying, "Oh, you talk with these big words, no one would really understand you." So I was like, "Well, what do you want? You know, what do you want? You know?" So I was just free to be myself here. You know, I was free to just speak the way I know how to speak here.
And how old were you at that time?
At that time, you know, I'm 22.
22.
Yeah,
Right.
22. So yeah, about 22. And so I study, I go through 120 lessons, and by the end of the year, I actually get my universal flag on my own born day at the end of the year. So it was like the greatest born day, unforgettable, you know?
Right.
Because you only do that once like that, you know. And it was different because I was probably the last generation to build like that, where you build in the classroom and all the older gods and firstborns are there. So when I built on the whole 1 to 40, firstborn prince rolled in the back, and a lot of other elders, and it was like, can't freeze up. Gotta make sure I have some actual insight.
Right.
So it's funny. I wasn't concerned with quoting. I was more concerned that I would say something stupid or something. I was like, oh, that's corny. That's weak. You know. I was always thinking like, yo, what would be useful? What makes it worthwhile for me to think this?
Right.
What makes it worthwhile? And I passed. And
nobody really said anything about what you built on. It
went good. I don't remember what I built on.
But you remember?
I remember that I passed.
That you wanted to get wrong. You didn't get on.
I remember that I passed. Yeah, you know. And after that, the time that I spent coming here every day, from '99 to 2000, that really was. I didn't know it, but it really was a preparation to teach here. So every day, especially Savior Knowledge would pull me aside many times and teach me.
A lot.
Because he sell books, you know. And I had all types of mentors and geniuses, I thought, but I never met one like him, where everything he was talking about, he read all the books of the field. You know, Savior, he sells all the black books.
Right.
But he read all the black books.
Wow.
You know, and that was like intriguing to me, because a lot of other scholars,
they didn't read all.
They collected the books, but they didn't read all of them yet. You know, and he was referencing things and stuff, and he would tell me which ones to buy, and he wouldn't let me buy other books until I was ready. He wouldn't let me buy books if he thought it was too advanced, too lesser than me.
Right.
So it became another type of education outside, you know, with him selling the books. And then he would also pull me aside and literally teach me the pedagogy of the classroom as a 5%. So he would teach me things about how to teach a group of individuals that come in this classroom from the street, how to teach students that already have it, how to teach students mixed of different levels. You know, like one of the most simple things he would say to me was, always teach to the one that knows the least. And what I learned from that was that the way that I taught would always have to actually change, almost like a jazz singer sings a song. Because then if someone is here that already knows that, they need to see, they also deserve to learn. And so I try to teach it a little bit different, so they could see a difference of style, a difference in manner. And so I learned all these things from him. I was really groomed. And I didn't know I was being groomed. You know, some of that became overt after Day-Sun decided to have a classroom to kind of teach something militant about what we know as writers and as thinkers and stuff. And he made up the Peace Course. The title, he made up a curriculum as a writing course, Political Education and Civilization Enrichment. That's Day-Sun's invention. And he knew that I would be the one that would always come. Because he knew I was always the one with patience to teach everybody else how to edit, how to do things. So what happened was, I started to teach this as a writing course, but you know, people come from the street and they want to know different things. They want to know knowledge of self. They want to know who am I? What do I do about this, that? All types of questions. So from then on, after a couple of classes, I knew like I have to teach everything. So I have to redevelop the concepts of this course so that it could include all these different things. So then I started expanding. I started to make little plus lessons of my own about how to teach. I made plus lessons about different book lists, like the 50 book beginner list I use. And in the beginning, it was a real clash when people started to see what I was doing. It was extremely unorthodox because it was a clash, but with much clashing, you know? Because I think there were a lot of, I would say 3 reasons. And I don't know which one is more or lesser, but it was because I was young. Peace. It was because I was Boricua, right? And it was also, you know, and that includes being light-skinned. And let's be honest. And it was also because I was teaching a very orthodox way. I had orthodox methods mixed into the unorthodox. You know, and some of my it's funny because some of the actual teaching styles I use are actually unorthodox in the Western world. But because this nation learned this in the Western world, a lot of civilization classes have a very rigid orthodox structure. For example, they'll teach by lecture. No one really will have much say until they are called upon to build on a specific issue. Whereas I don't really do that, you know?
Yeah, I noticed that you have like a conversation.
I tend to make it a conversation. I tend to really probe into students and what they're thinking. And then I try to apply what I think they ought to know, what I think they should learn. And I try my best to have them create their own class curriculum by developing their own questions of what they need.
Right.
You know, so I take very much into account what they're saying, where they're at in life, all these kind of things. Right. So if they're having a very uneventful, a very stagnant life, then they're also failing my class, though. So, but that's not the way most civilization classes are taught. You know, it's usually taught as, and the worst way. And I'm saying the worst way, as a supplement to that teacher's grandeur. You know? So, you know, I'm teaching this. This is how incredible I am. I am God, and I will teach you how to be God. Listen close. Listen closely. But I never had that.
If Mecca did this.